Hi dear students, this presentation is from first module of the subject Advanced Energy Engineering, and all the last presentations we were discussing about the energy scenario in world as well as in India. Now we will be moving on to the technical side. In this presentation we will start with steam power plant, how a steam power plant works and what are its major components and its advantages, disadvantages, everything will be discussed in this presentation. Now in the screen you can see the layout of the steam power plant. As an introduction, you will be knowing steam is produced in a boiler by providing some heat, so that utilizing that heat the water is converted into high pressure steam. That high pressure steam, high pressure high temperature steam is utilized to rotate the blades of the turbine, and hence the energy is converted into, that kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy, which in turn will be rotating the shaft of the turbine. That shaft will be connected to the generator, so the generator will be rotating. Of course the power is produced within the generator, that is being transmitted. That is what is happening in a steam power plant. The prime mover is the steam is producing the power, that's why it is called steam power plant. Power plant working on the working based on the steam is called the steam power plant. You can see from the figure, you can see here, you can see this is the boiler from where the steam is generated. So for producing the steam inside the boiler, heat is to be supplied. Usually in the steam power plants the fuel used is the coal, which is the cheapest one, that we have already discussed while discussing about the various energy sources. So there should be a coal storage yard. You can see above the boiler, you can see a coal storage yard. From the coal storage yard, continuous supply of coal will be there to the boiler. So continuous burning of the boiler will supply the continuous heat to the boiler. So inside the boiler there will be water at very high temperature. So as the heat is given as an input to the boiler, what happens is that heat is being absorbed by the water and its phase is being changed. Very high steam stored inside the boiler will cause for the rise of the pressure. So high pressure high temperature steam will be there inside the boiler always. So that steam, this we can separate into three circuits. One is steam circuit, how steam is produced from boiler, where the steam is going, how energy is produced, or power side we can say. And the second circuit is regarding the flue gases. So after combustion, the flue gas will be passing through the chimney and all, how the flue gas circuit is going, that also we have to discuss. Then comes the water circuit. See, for producing the steam we require the continuous supply of water. There will be a water supply line also. So if you separately think about these three circuits and club it together, then you will have the layout of the steam power plant. So I will start with boiler. Boiler is the place where the water is being converted into steam by utilizing the heat supplied by the coal, burning of the coal. So inside the boiler we will have the high pressure high temperature steam. So that steam is being carried through this line. You can see steam, one line here. Through this line the steam is being carried to the turbine. You can see the turbine here. So inside the turbine we have studied in detail in the thermal engineering. There will be blades mounted on the shaft. So as the very high pressure steam passes through the blades, the steam will expand. So what happens, the kinetic energy of the steam is given away to the blades. So what happens, the blade will be rotating at a very high speed. So once the steam leaves the turbine, its pressure is reduced. So pressure energy is being converted into kinetic energy of the blades. That is what is actually happening. So high pressure steam will be entering into the turbine and low pressure steam will be leaving from the turbine. This is the steam leaving line. You can see intermediate two more lines. You can see intermediate lines. You can see there. That is what is called bleeding. I will discuss it in later. Anyway, so once the steam enters the blades and passes through the blades, what happens is its pressure energy is being converted into kinetic energy of the blade while passing through the blades. So blade rotates. So blade is connected to the shaft. So what happens, once the blade is rotated means shaft also will be rotating. Shaft is, you can see the shaft is connected to the generator where the electricity is being produced. So the shaft rotates means inside the generator electricity is being produced. That produced electricity is passed through the power transmission lines and it is distributed to wherever it is required. This is the steam line. Okay, that is, I think it is very much clear for you. Now coming to the water side, what happens is, for producing the steam, there should be enough water inside the boiler. So whatever quantity of water is changing its phase to liquid state to vapor state, that much quantity of water is continuously to be fed into the boiler. So for that, water supply line will be there. This is the water supply. This portion is actually the water supply line. You can see the end steam coming out from the turbine will be passing through the condenser. You can see a condenser here. So whatever heat it is having, that heat is given away to the a coolant which is circulated through the cooling tower. You can see a cooling tower setup, and a cooling water will be pumped through the heat. This is a heat exchanger, and cooling water is passed through the heat exchanger. So what happens is, once the cooling water passes through the heat exchangers shown here, so steam will be giving its heat to the cooling water. So once the heat exchange takes place, the steam will come back to its initial state, that is to the liquid state. Phase change will be there, and steam will be converted into liquid state. That liquid water is pumped using the low pressure pump. You can see a low pressure pump here, that is being pumped through the feed pump, and it is finally circulated to the boiler itself. So whatever water is coming from boiler after expansion is being cooled and converted into liquid state again, and it is circulated back. You can see two intermediate lines, that is what is called bleeding. See, from the initial portion we will extract a high pressure steam, a small quantity of high pressure steam, and it is supplied to the high pressure heater, and from in between also we are extracting a small quantity of steam which is not completely expanded, that is being supplied to the low pressure pump. Okay, so what happens is, you can see the water once passes through the the steam finally expanded, once passes through the condenser, its state is converted into liquid state. So the liquid state is passing through the low pressure pump. See, inside the pump, what happens is, this cold liquid is coming in contact with the intermediate pressure feed that we are providing into the low pressure pump. So mixing of the steam and the cold water will be taking place here. So what happens is, this supplied steam will be giving its heat to the cooling water. So further this steam is being converted into liquid. So completely liquid will be there inside the low pressure pump. So what happens is, but the temperature of this cooling water coming from this side will be gradually increased. So slightly temperature will be increased. So that increased temperature water will be passed through the high pressure heater using a feed pump. So using a pump, again it is pumped to the high pressure heater. Here also you can see the steam blood from the initial state, that this the steam coming through this line will be very high pressure, very high temperature steam. Remember, through these two lines only very small quantity of steam is being extracted, not the entire steam is extracted. So only a very small quantity is being bleeded. So that bleeded steam is mixed with the upcoming water from the feed pump in this chamber also. So again same thing happened in the low pressure pump is happening here also. So steam will be giving its heat to the slightly heated water in the high pressure heater. So steam automatically is converted into liquid state, that is to the water state, but the water already coming from the feed pump is heated slightly from here also. So that already heated water will be finally pumped into the boiler. Okay, so in between you can see the water will be passing through the economizer. This is one of the important component of the steam power plant. So what happens is, once this water passes through the economizer, you can see from the boiler a flue gas line is coming. You can see from that figure, a flue gas line is coming from the boiler. Flue gas means the byproduct after combustion. That means the mixture of air and the byproduct of the coal after combustion. Okay, ash, everything will be there. So that flue gas will be initially passing through this economizer. So very high temperature flue gas passes through the economizer. Through the economizer, the water is also passing. That means economizer is actually a heat exchanger. So the heat from the flue gas is given to the water passing through the heat exchanger in the economizer. So the water is further heated before entering into the boiler. So the water after coming after the condensation from the cooling tower is slightly heated in the low pressure pump, then again heated in the high pressure heater, then finally its temperature is raised to a very high temperature in the economizer. But still in all these portions, the state of the liquid water will be in the liquid state only. So that high temperature water is finally fed into the boiler, that is being heated inside the boiler. What will be the advantage of doing all these things? you know that we need to provide a very large amount of heat to convert the uh, water into vapor state. So if the water entering into the boiler is at a very high temperature, say around 90 degrees Celsius, then we need to provide heat corresponding to 10 degrees Celsius difference, so that at 100 degrees Celsius water will be boiling. So that much heat we need to provide. If the water is coming at 30 degrees Celsius means, then the temperature difference required is 70 degrees. Temperature difference is 70 degree, that much heat we have to supply. That is a very huge amount. So by doing all these things, we can reduce the heat input to the boiler. Correspondingly, we can reduce the coal consumption also. Okay, that is the advantage. So that is all about the water circuit. In the cooling tower, what happens is, see, the water passing through the cooling water passing through the heat exchanger at this portion will be extracting the heat from the steam coming from the turbine. So of course, at the exit of the heat exchanger, there will be hot water that is to be again cooled to pass through the heat exchanger as a circuit. So that heated water will be passing through the cooling tower, in which the heat is rejected inside the cooling tower, and it is finally coming back as a cooling water, and it is being circulated. Okay, that is all about the water circuit. Now coming to the ash circuit, coal circuit, you can see the coal storage add will be here. From there, coal will be supplied to the boiler. Inside the boiler, the burning process will be taking place. That means the coal is burned in presence of the air. So the final, after providing the heat, the combustion products or flue gas, that is mixture of air plus ashes, will be passing through the flue gas side. The majority of the ash will be stored inside the ash storage yard. See, before passing through the chimney and all, ash will be separated from the flue gases. Complete separation will not take place. Still, major quantity of the ash will be separated from the flue gases, and it is being stored in the ash storage yard. And finally, after combustion, the air plus ash, slight quantity of ash, CO2, everything will be that gas will be passing through this line. First, initially it will be passing through the economizer, where it will be giving its large quantity of heat to the water coming into the boiler. So its temperature is slightly reduced. Otherwise, that high temperature air is directly expelled into the atmosphere, so it is a wastage of energy. So a part of energy or part of heat content within the flue gas, major part of the heat content within the flue gas is extracted by the water coming into the boiler. So after that, still it will be having a very high temperature. So now after passing through the economizer, flue gas will be again passing through the next component, that is preheater. See, in preheater what happens is, we need atmospheric air for the combustion of the coal inside the boiler. So atmospheric air, before passing to the boiler, initially it will be passing through the air preheater. Air preheater again is a heat exchanger which deals with the gaseous state only. So the flue gas at high temperature will be passing through the heat exchanger tubes of the one tube of the heat exchanger. On the other, through the other tube, atmospheric air will be passing. There won't be any mixing. So the remaining heat energy which is already there in the flue gases after passing through the economizer is given away to the atmospheric air. That means air is initially heated. That is what it is called preheating. Okay. So atmospheric air is preheated inside the air preheater, and that heated air is supplied into the boiler. That means for heating of the air also, we don't want to give that much energy. The energy consumption for heating air also we can reduce by this process. Okay. So and also the flue gas temperature is further reduced, and after passing through the preheater, the air will be passing through the chimney, and finally it is going out. In between, to remove the dust and all, there will be separators and all will be provided inside the chimney. So that is all about the flue gas circuit. So this completes the total working of the steam power plant. Okay, I think the concept is clear. I will explain once more. Here three circuits are there. One is steam circuit. Inside the boiler, high pressure steam is produced by burning the coal. So that high pressure steam will be passing through the turbine. The kinetic energy, the pressure energy of the steam passing through the turbine will be converted into kinetic energy while it passes through the blades of the turbine. Blade will be mounted on the shaft of the turbine. So what happens is, the shaft will be rotating. That rotation is provided to the generator. Inside the generator, electricity is produced, that is being transmitted to the power transmission line. Okay, that is all about the steam side. Coming to the water side, the steam after expansion from the turbine will be initially cooled inside the condenser. It is a heat exchanger dealing with the liquids. So there will be a cooling water. Through the cooling water will be passing through the coil of the one coil of the heat exchanger, where it is on the other, through the other coil the steam will be passing. So it is liquid vapor heat exchanger. So the steam will give away the heat to the cooling water, so that its phase is changed from vapor state to liquid state. That liquid is passed through the low pressure pump. Inside the low pressure pump, an intermediate steam bleeded from the turbine is mixed with the water. So what happens is the temperature of the water will be slightly increased, as well as the steam bleeded from the turbine is mixing with this water will be changing its phase. So totally the final state will be liquid state only, that is pumped using a feed pump. Then it comes to the high pressure heater. Same thing is happening in the high pressure heater also, but here the steam bleeded from the initial portion, so that is high pressure steam. A small quantity of high pressure high temperature steam is mixed with the water here. So further temperature rise will be there inside the high pressure heater. That heated water will be finally passing through the economizer, where it is coming in interaction with the flue gases, and further temperature rise will be there, and it is finally fed into the boiler. Coming to the flue gas, initially the flue gas produced after the combustion of the coal inside the boiler will be passing through the economizer. There it will be giving a majority of its heat to the water which is supplied into the boiler. After giving its heat, it is then passed through the air preheater, where the air fed into the boiler is being heated there. That's why it is called air preheater. Finally, it is passing through the chimney. In the left side, we have the coal storage yard. From the coal storage yard, we will be providing the coal required to the boiler. And after heating, a huge amount of ash will be there. That will be separated in there itself, and it is moved to the ash storage yard. Okay, I think the concept is clear for you. Now, moving to the next one. Now, components of the steam power plant. Already I have explained in detail all these things. First one is boiler. Boiler is an equipment to produce the steam. Second one is steam turbine. High pressure superheated steam is fed to the steam turbine, which causes the turbine blades to rotate. Energy in the steam is converted into mechanical energy in the steam turbine, which acts as the prime mover. The third component is the generator. It is coupled with the turbine rotor and converts the mechanical energy of the turbine to the electrical energy. That is the function of the generator. Now coming to the condenser. It is heat exchanger in which cooling water is circulated through the tubes. The exhaust steam from the turbine enters the condenser, where it is cooled and converted into condensate water. The deposition of the salt in the boiler is prevented with the use of condensate instead of using feed water from the from outer source which may contain salt. See, what does it mean is, either what you can do is you can directly remove the steam after expansion from the turbine. You can directly expel it to the atmosphere, and fresh water can be circulated from the water source if it is available, like river and all. But there is lot of difficulty in that. One difficulty is sometimes the water source may not be available near to the steam power plant. That is one of the major difficulty. And another difficulty is, if you are supplying the water from the river and sea, what happens is there can be a salt deposition, as well as the contaminants will be there. So that will cause that will finally come as a coating layer inside the boiler, which will finally cause for the heat, which will create problem for the heat transfer inside the boiler. It will act as a shell. Okay, so that are all the difficulties. So the water circulated into the boiler should be in its purest form. So to make sure that what we will do is, we will be using the same water to circulate again and again, so that it won't get contaminated. That is the reason. So that is what is explained here. The deposition of the salt in the boiler is prevented with the use of condensate instead of using feed water from outside water source. So instead of providing feed water from the outside source, we will be using the condensate to circulate again and again. That is the that makes the importance of the cooling tower and condenser. Okay. So water circulating through the condenser may be taken from the various sources such as river or lake. If sufficient quantity of water is not available, the hot water coming out of the condenser may be cooled in the cooling towers and circulated again through the condenser. If the sufficient water is available, and if we are having purification methods also, just like some pre-treatment and all is done, and the contaminants are removed, salt and everything is removed, then we can, in that case, we can directly fed the water from the river and all. Otherwise, what we will do is, we will always go for cooling tower and condensation process. Okay, that depends on the availability of the water. The fifth component is economizer. As I have already told, economizer is a device fitted to the boiler which saves energy by using the heat energy of the exhaust gases from the boiler to preheat the feed water, thereby improving the boiler's efficiency. See, the water being fed into the boiler is preheated once it passes through the economizer. Through the economizer, flue gas will be passing. Also, the feed water into the boiler will be passing. So, the heat from the flue gas is absorbed by the water. That means water is getting heated. Okay, see, from if the water is pumped from the river, its temperature will be around 30 degrees Celsius. So, for the conversion of the water into steam, at least 100 degrees Celsius is required. That is in case of atmospheric pressure, but inside the boiler the pressure will be very high. That means the temperature required to phase change will be high also. If the pressure increases, corresponding saturation temperature also will be increasing. So, it won't boil at 100 degrees Celsius, it will be 300 degrees Celsius, something like that. So, what happens is that much temperature, Q is equal to mCp delta T. So, Q heat required to change the phase is directly proportional to not to change the phase. See, initially from 30 degrees Celsius we are heating to 100 degrees Celsius or 150 or 200, whatever it may be. That is the delta T term. So, that much delta T will be depending on the heat input. Q is directly proportional to that delta T term. So, if that delta T is more, means more heat is required to more heat is to be provided. So, that will be the loss of energy. So, more fuel is required. So, it will be a loss. So, flue gas already having very high temperature, it is to be expelled into the atmosphere. So, if we are extracting that heat, that will be advantage. So, that means this delta T value we can reduce. That means inversely what we are doing is we are actually reducing the heat input to the boiler. Okay, if the water coming to the boiler is preheated, means we can reduce the heat input. Okay, so correspondingly the consumption of the coal also will be less. Okay, that is saving of energy. So, the efficiency of the boiler will be increasing. Now comes the superheater. The superheater is a device that heats the steam generated by the boiler, again increasing its thermal energy. It converts wet steam into superheated steam, high temperature dry steam. Actually, it is not shown in the figure. So, superheater is a heater which is converting that. Actually, the steam produced inside the boiler is always in contact with the water inside the boiler. Both will be both stays together inside the boiler. In the lower portion, water will be there. In the upper portion, steam will be there. Always wet content will be there along with the steam produced inside the boiler. So, we need to remove that wet content for the better performance of the turbine blades. So, what we do is, we will be, after producing that steam, the wet steam will be passing through the superheater. There further heating will be taking place. That means wet content will be removed and the temperature of the steam will be increased. Superheated steam means corresponding to pressure there will be a saturation temperature. So, heating above that saturation temperature is known as the superheating. So, superheater, the function of the superheater is to superheat the steam coming from the boiler to the superheat temperature. Next, then comes the air preheater that I have already explained. The air coming into the boiler from the atmosphere is heated inside the air preheater. Here also the heating agent is the flue gases passing through the heat exchanger. So, air is getting heated. Then comes the precipitator. These are not important components. See, the flue gas passing through the chimney and all, we cannot directly expel into the atmosphere. It will pollute the air outside. So, what happens is, we have to extract whatever solid particles are there inside the flue gas before expelling into the atmosphere. For that, we will be using the precipitators. Precipitator is a device also called dust collector that removes the particles from the flowing gases. So, whatever solid particles are there with the flue gases is being separated inside the precipitator and it is collected back. Okay, so that we will make sure that it is not polluting the air, outside air. Okay. Now comes the forced and induced draught fans. See, for the proper functioning of the chimney, what is happening through the chimney? Air has to flow from bottom portion to upper portion. So, that continuous flow should be there. For that, what is required? Pressure difference should be there. Based on that pressure difference only, the chimney will work. Always that smoke or flue gas has to flow upward. For that, we need to provide some pressure difference. For that, sometimes we will be using fans. If the fan is being used, then it is called forced. Then it is called draughts, forced or induced draught we will call. So, sometimes the fan will be provided at the bottom of the boiler itself, then it is called the forced induced, and if forced fans. If the fan is provided at the bottom of the chimney, then it is called the draught fan, induced draught. Okay. So, the function is actually, if the fan is provided at the bottom of the chimney, what happens is, air is sucked from the boiler side or flue gas is sucked from the boiler side and it is passed through the chimney. That is what is happening. In the case of forced fans, fan is fitted in below the boiler itself, so that air from the fan will be pushing the flue gases through the boiler, then through the economizer, preheater, everything, and finally it is passing through the chimney. This is the difference. You can go through the theory side explained there. I will provide the slide with you. So if you go through this contents written there, it will be very much clear for you, I think. Now coming to the advantages of steam power plant. Everything is well explained here. Still I will explain. Less initial cost as compared to the other generating plants. Initial cost is less. That's all. You see, for the hydroelectric power plant and all, very high initial cost is there compared to the other power plants. Initial cost will be less. The capital cost is low compared to hydel plant. Both are same point. Next is construction time is low. We can construct within a particular time. There won't require much time to construction. Power generation does not depend on natural climatic conditions. See, in the hydel power plant and all, what happens is when the water is available, we can produce more power. Otherwise, we have to wait for it. So here there is no such restrictions. Next one is power plant can be located near industrial areas. Industrial areas are the largest consumers of the electricity. So if the plant is located near the industrial area, it will be having huge advantage. So that is another advantage. The next one is the fuel used is quite cheap. Coal is the cheapest fuel that we have right now. So fuel used is the cheap one. It can be installed at any place irrespective of the extent of the coal. See, even if coal is not existing there, then also we can erect it anywhere at any place. But only thing is we have to carry the coal from the source to the power plant. Okay, that's all. That is not a difficult thing. Now conveyance methods are there, even trucks, railway, everything is being utilized for that. So that is not a difficulty. Next point is it requires less space as compared to hydro power plants. And the next point is cost of generation is less than that of the diesel power plant. Comparing to the diesel power plant, the cost of generation is less. See, the diesel power plant also will be working on the same principle. Only difference is here coal is being used for producing the steam, but in case of diesel power plant, directly we are using the diesel as the fuel. So diesel will be directly burning, mixing with the air, so that hot gas is being used to, there is no steam generation and all. What happens is once the diesel is mixed with air and it is tend to burn, what happens is combustion gas is produced. That gas is rotated in the gas turbine. Instead of steam turbine, there will be using the gas turbine. That is the only difference. So compared to cost of generation less than that of the diesel power plant. Here the cost of generation will be less compared to the diesel power plant. Then comes steam power plants are most economical if sited near coal mines and by the side of the river or canal. See, if steam power plants we are able to locate near to the coal mines, then it will be better. We can reduce the transportation cost and all. And also if it is near to the river and all, we will have a plenty of water supply. So we can remove that condenser as well as the cooling tower, which is again a energy consuming part. Okay, these are the advantages of steam power plant. Now coming to the disadvantages of steam power plant, very limited disadvantages are there. First one is source of fuel, that is coal reserve all over the world is considered to be fixed, and therefore coal mines are being exhausted, hence there is a limiting source of power. See, it is going to be extinguished coal source, so we cannot no more depend on the coal. So that's why we are shifting towards the diesel power plant as well as natural gas power plants. Power generation cost is considerably high compared to the hydel power plant. Once it is erected, the what we can say, see, in the hydroelectric power plants, the initial cost of installation will be high, but after onwards, continuous production the cost will be less. Okay, only maintenance cost will be coming, but here for the production of the electricity, continuous supply of coal is required, transport and everything is to be considered. So daily ways, if you are thinking about the cost of generation, it will be high compared to the hydel plant. Power generation cost is considerably high compared to the hydel power plant. Operating cost is more compared to diesel and nuclear power plant. The next one is maintenance cost is high as compared with that of the hydro and diesel power plant. Maintenance cost will be high compared to other power plants, and fuel transportation and handling are difficult. We have to carry away the fuel from various sources. Source of coal plant, എവിടെയൊക്കെയാണോ കോൾ സോഴ്സസ് ഉള്ളത്, കോൾ പാടങ്ങളുള്ളത്, അവിടെ നിന്ന് ഇവിടത്തേക്ക് എത്തിക്കണം, അതാണ് പ്രശ്നം. ഓക്കെ, so that is all about the steam power plants. I think the concept is clear for you. Please go through the slide. I will share it with you. We will see you in the next presentation. Okay, bye for now.